This Twins-Red Sox series is brought to you by Santander Bank, member FDIC. And on a steamy summer night at Fenway, the Red Sox go for 4 straight wins. They take on the Minnesota Twins one night after a 13-2 17-hit Game 1 thrashing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fenway. Great to have you with us on this Friday night. Dave O'Brien alongside Red Sox Hall of Famer Jerry Remy. Garrett Austin will be alongside in just a moment. Jerry, 17 hits last night. 14 of those came from the 1 through 4 guys in the lineup. That was impressive.
Very impressive. And it started right from the beginning of the ball game with Mookie Betts. And, you know, when you want your hitters lined up, you want your best hitters at the top of the lineup. And that's exactly what the Red Sox have right now. Mookie Betts taking the first pitch that he saw last night for a home run. Dustin Pedroia with 5 hits in the game. This one going to center field for the base hit. He had 3 to the opposite field, pulled 2. Bogaerts finds a gap out there in left center field. And the big blast by David Ortiz. We had to wait till late in the game for that. But I don't know how he hit that pitch out of the ballpark. The pitch was up and away and still hooks it over the bullpen area for the home run. So the Red Sox offense obviously right now very, very impressive and very intimidating for any opposing pitcher that has to face it. And as I said, you know, when you get the top of the line, I'm swinging the way that they are right now, you know you're going to score a lot of runs.
We're saying that a lot lately, aren't we? Can't believe you hit that out of the ballpark with the Boston Red Sox and going for 4 consecutive wins tonight. It is a hot night in the city. Red Sox and the Minnesota Twins. Eduardo Rodriguez on the hill trying to follow up what Stephen Wright did last night here at Fenway Park. Game 2 is next. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. By Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. The 2017 Kia Sportage. Visit anykiadealers.com to learn more. DraftKings, the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of your Boston Red Sox. By your Subaru retailers of New England. Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Red Sox and the Twins in the second game of a 4-game series. We'll bring in Garrett Austin now. Garrett, it's a key start for the young left-hander, Eduardo Rodriguez.
That's right, Obi. This is a very important start for Eduardo Rodriguez. It's his second after being called up from Pawtucket, and it's following his best outing of the season at New York, where he went 7 innings and only gave up 1 earned run after he made several key adjustments that the Red Sox hope he continues to apply.
Well, it was very encouraging. I mean, first and foremost, his ability to repeat his delivery, repeat his hand position. I think that we saw, some clear-cut evidence that hitters weren't seeing some of the things that maybe they were seeing before. His work with his slider, which had been progressing here before he was sent out, has continued to improve, and it was a big pitch for him in New York, and I think a pitch that maybe confused them because they kept waiting for the changeup, and he had the ability to go to the slider that day. So it was a very encouraging start for him.
He was able to throw that slider, throw it for strikes. It was a major weapon for the 23-year-old left-hander from Venezuela. Trying to pick up his third win of the season here tonight. Do it against the Minnesota Twins. He sees them for the second time in 2016. Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez at 2-3, a 7.18 ERA. He is dying to bring down. And here's a look at the Twins lineup he'll face, brought to you by New England Chevy dealers. Eduardo Nunez will lead it off. Robbie Grossman and Joe Mauer after him. Brian Dozier, their power-hitting second baseman. Miguel Sano at third. Max Kepler in right. Then Escobar, Juan Centeno, the catcher, and Byron Buxton in center field and batting ninth. Against the Red Sox starter, presented by your New England Audi dealers. Rodriguez facing another key test tonight that he has to pass to show his excellent start last time out against the Yankees was for real.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, and they are 7th in the American League with 51 errors in 93 games. Travis Shaw will be at third base, Xander Bogaerts the shortstop, Dustin Pedroia at second, Hanley Ramirez the first baseman. Left to right, Brock Holt, Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie Betts, and Sandy Leon doing the catching for Rodriguez.
Tonight's umpire is brought to you by ToyotaCertified.com. That is Dan Isanya behind the plate, Clint Fagan at first base, Paul Emmel at second, and Bob Davidson, the veteran, at third. We're available. This telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your TV remote. SAP presented by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory back Toyota certified used vehicle right now.
Buenas noches, amigos.
90 degrees inside the ballpark and a bit of a breeze at 15 miles an hour out to left. There is a chance of some late evening thunderstorms, but right now it's very, very nice here at Fenway Park as we get set for game 2. Red Sox coming off a big win last night, and the first pitch on the way to Nunez outside for ball 1, and we are underway.
Yeah, we talk about that last game as we look at Nunez's numbers for Rodriguez. That was against the Yankees, and he had great control in that game against the Yankees.
1-0 pitch, socked toward right on the line. Mookie Betts right there, though, for the out. One away.
And staying on Rodriguez for a second, you know, a couple of things we highlighted in his last outing, his change with his hand position. He brings his glove up now to about even with his face and leaves it there. He does not drop it back down and then come back up again. He just has one steady spot to put it in. So that's one of the things they worked on. The other thing last time out, had a very good slider in that game against the Yankees. Probably the best one I've ever seen him have.
Yeah, he had it right away too, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He established that pitch. He stuck with it. Here's Robbie Grossman. And he looks at a strike. 277, 6 homers, 22 runs batted in. Minnesota losing for the 60th time in 95 games last night. And they are 15-31 on the road. Strike 2.
There's that slider again right there for the strike. First one he's thrown tonight, and he gets it over for a called strike. You know, in the past, he would use his slider just to show people that he had a third pitch, but it wasn't effective for him.
0-2. And a little bit high at 95 on the gun. At Yankee Stadium, he went 7 innings, allowing 4 hits, 1 run. As you said, his control was very good. Only 2 walks. It was his longest outing of the year. 1-2 coming. And popped up. Twisting foul over the top of the Red Sox dugout.
Take a look back at the start against the New York Yankees, and Rodriguez with that new delivery being very effective. In that game, he threw very, very few changeups, a lot of fastballs, and quite a few sliders. Fastball led to Jacoby Ellsbury and a little pop-up. And then a strikeout against Gregorius with a fastball away. His control was very good.
Trying to get Grossman here. The 1-2 is inside. Joe Mauer on deck. We heard Garrett Austin talking with Carl Willison. Carl said he thought that the Yankees were confused. They were looking for that changeup, and it just wasn't coming. The slider came instead. The 2-2. Line drive, base hit up the middle, and almost took Erod with it. And so Grossman is on with a sharp base hit.
Well, dangerous right there as Rodriguez put his hand up to try to catch that ball, and it's just kind of a natural reaction for a pitcher to do that, but also very dangerous to do. See the hand go up? That's the last thing you want to have happen right there, is break a finger.
Here's Mauer now at first base tonight, 267 with 8 homers, 30 runs batted in. He was 0 for 4 last night against Stephen Wright, who was outstanding, going 8 terrific innings when the Red Sox really needed that for the bullpen to have, for the most part, a night off. And the first one in there for strike 1. Tough pitch right at the knee.
Yeah, that'd be a great pitch for Rodriguez to get all night long. Right at the knees, just a little bit down and maybe out of the strike zone.
Red Sox with a half-game lead in the division over the Orioles. A game and a half over Toronto. The Blue Jays continue to play well, rather quietly. 0-1. He had a notion, but he held off, and the count 1-1.
That was the slider again. As you look at the standings right now, half game over the Orioles, game and a half over Toronto, and then everybody else. The Yankees and Tampa Bay.
Wright, 8 innings, just 4 hits. He struck out 9. He was a man in complete command last night. One of his best outings all season long. The 1-1. Strike on the corner.
Very good slider again by Rodriguez, picking up the outside corner. So he's already thrown more sliders in this game than we've seen in complete starts for him over the last year or so. Slided to the outside corner that time. Nicely caught back there by Sandy Leon.
So that brief stay in the minor leagues may have taught him to trust that pitch again and sharpen it up. Those are the early returns. Here's the 1-2. And he got him. He blew him away. Went back to the fastball to strike out Mauer.
See, now hitters have something else to think about. You know, in the past against Rodriguez, it was think about fastball and changeup, everything straight. Well, now when you mix in the slider, that confuses. I mean, that's another pitch that you have to worry about. That time he just throws the fastball by Mauer.
Lexus making a pledge to strikeout hunger. For every strikeout by a Red Sox pitcher this season, Lexus donates $50 to the Greater Boston Food Bank. That'll send up Brian Dozier, who can be dangerous with the home run ball. He's hit 16. Otherwise hitting .243, 49 runs batted in. A man at first, and 2 down here in the first inning. And he'll take a ball.
mentioned last night, Dozier at one time was the leadoff hitter for the Minnesota Twins, but with that power he has, he's down to that 4 spot now.
He's 2 for 4 with a home run against Rodriguez in his career, and he'll look at another strike.
Back-to-back sliders. First one outside, comes back with the same pitch, but this time brings it to the outside corner.
Minnesota's had an awful time against the American League East. 5-19 against the Sox division. And the left-hander with a 1-1. Tried the inside corner, but he came up empty with that fastball. The Minnesota pitching staff has allowed 40 runs to the Red Sox in 4 games this season. And the Sox will have due up Betts, Pedroia, Bogaerts. Man, did they do some damage last night. Along with David Ortiz right behind them. Here comes the 2-1. Runner goes. He swung and missed. Here's the throw down, and oh, he's out by a ton. And the peg by Leon, not even close down there to cut down Grossman. Side retired. Red Sox coming up here in the first inning at Fenway. Toyota's website for deals. Mookie Betts, Dustin Pedroia, Xander Bogaerts, 1, 2, 3. Then David Ortiz, Hanley Ramirez, and Jackie Bradley, who homered last night. Travis Shaw, Sandy Leon, and Brock Holt are the starting 9 in the lineup against Kyle Gibson, the right-hander from Indiana. First ball swinging again. Mookie Betts. He did it last night and launched a home run.
Looking for that first pitch fastball as we look at the numbers for Gibson on the season. 11 starts, 2-6 with a 5.12. Opponent sitting 287.
Starting pitcher presented by Buick. High fly ball into left, very high and deep. Grossman back at the wall, turning, and he's done it again. For the second night in a row, he starts off with a home run. Mookie Betts with number 20. And the Red Sox lead it again 1-0.
Well, let's go back to last night in the first inning. First pitch that Mookie Betts sees, a fastball away. Look at the head discipline right down on the baseball, takes it out of the park. Now tonight, not the first pitch, but first at bat, he gets a pitch that's more inside and cleans it out. That's a pitch that Mookie Betts can take that's inside and just turn on it very quickly.
Speedway proud to be New England's first choice for value and convenience. For every Red Sox homer this season, Speedway donates $500 to Boston Children's Hospital. All summer long, you get any size fountain or frozen drink for just 69 cents. Dustin Pedroia was 5 for 5 last night, getting that average back up over 300 at 304. So for Mookie, not the first pitch tonight, but the second pitch.
You know, you look at the top 4 guys in the lineup. We highlighted that in the open, what they did last night. 306 for Betts coming in, 304 for Pedroia, 324 for Bogaerts, 330 for Ortiz.
And the 0-2 on Dustin. He takes the ball on deck. Xander Bogaerts. And the Red Sox are on one of those rolls again, scoring 24 runs and 33 hits over the last 2 nights. They're hitting .291 as a team to lead the majors. The 1-2 fouled off his leg.
The Twins defense is brought to you by DraftKings. They are last in the American League. Miguel Sano at third base and Eduardo Escobar. The shortstop, Brian Dozier at second, Joe Mauer at first, Grossman, Buxton, Kepler in the outfield, and Centennial doing the catching.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Dustin Pedroia, who was 0 for 6 against Gibson in his career. And a 1-2 and a swung on and miss. It gets away from the catcher, Centennial. He's not even going to throw. Pedroia is going to reach despite the strikeout. So he's on as that one bounded away from the catcher.
That's a pretty good curveball right there by Gibson, but the ball bounces and goes down toward the third base area. And you can see by the time Centennial gets to it, he just looks at first base. No throw, no chance at all to get Pedroia,
who has now reached base in 25 consecutive games. So there's a strikeout and a wild pitch, and the Sox with a base runner in front of Xander Bogaerts. And the Red Sox, this is kind of amazing, are actually hitting 13 points higher, Jerry, with a runner on base than with nobody on.
Well, they like the guy working out of the stretch, don't they?
Bogaerts will take ball 1, hitting .324. He was 3 for 4 last night, and he has just carved up the Minnesota Twins.
You can run against Gibson. Base stealers are 7 for 8 against him this season.
One 0 Boston on Mookie Betts' leadoff home run for the second night in a row. And a 1-0 through there for a strike. Red Sox are coming to bat 46% of the time this season with somebody on base. David Ortiz on deck. Bogaerts has driven in 61 runs. Betts now 63 runs. David Ortiz 79 runs. He tried to hold up, but that's a swing and a miss, says Isanya.
Now that fastball that he throws inside kind of comes back in toward the right-hander and sinks a little bit. And that fastball at about 92, 93 miles an hour. There you see it, a 2-seamer. And you see that late action when it gets inside on Bogaerts.
Pedroia with a short lead at first base as Gibson holds him. He's coming in with a 5.12 ERA. And that'll miss downstairs off speed. Now the Red Sox jumped Gibson back on June 11th in Minnesota the last time they saw him. A 15-4 Red Sox win. He gave up 4 runs in the first inning. Two and 2 on Xander Bogaerts. Ground ball toward the hole. The shortstop down for it, throwing to second, but it's too late. And Pedroia is safe. Escobar could not make the play. And there'll be 2 men aboard here for David Ortiz, his first trip to the plate tonight. This greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Red Sox major league ranks this season. #1 in average and in runs and in doubles, on base percentage and OPS. The Red Sox have had 15 or more hits in 15 games this season.
You know, that last ground ball, Bogaerts, that's one where you thank the runner at first base, because by him hustling down to beat the throw, Pedroia, that gets Bogaerts a base hit. There was really not much chance at all for Eduardo Escobar to get anybody. He tried to get Pedroia. Pedroia hustling and beats it out. Gets Bogaerts a hit.
Ortiz to climb in at .330. 24 homers, 79 runs batted in. Last night 3 for 5 with a home run. And he drove in 4. John Farrell said that David wanted that last at bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. And he belted a 2-run homer. High for ball 1. Didn't look like a bad pitch either. Isanya said it missed high. By the time David swung the bat last night in the 8th inning, Pedroia and Bogaerts had come out of the game. He thought he might be lifted, but he wanted to swing there, and it paid off. Off speed, a swing and a miss to make it 1-1.
Now the home run you were talking about, David. Look at the location of the pitch. It's up and away from Ortiz, and he's still able to get on top and pull that ball over the bullpen area. That's amazing to me. Look at the location. Up and away, and still pulls the ball out of the ballpark for the home run. You think that ball will go to the opposite field.
Number 527 for Big Papi. Red Sox, by the way, have now homered in 12 consecutive games. Runners at first and second, a run in here in the first. Nobody out, even though he did get a strikeout of Pedroia. The wild pitch cost him. And the 1-1. Ground ball, hard hit right to Mauer. He'll go to second base, gets the out there, back to first with a pitcher covering for the double play. Pedroia is safely into third, but now there are 2 down for the Red Sox. So David Ortiz doubled up as that goes 3-6-1.
Some reason Amaro, the first base coach, was telling Bogaerts to stay at second base. I wonder if he thought that maybe it was a phantom tag of second base by the shortstop, but Amaro was pointing and telling Bogaerts to stay at second base. Take another look. I think he thought he came up off the bag, but he got back down on it in time.
So Hanley Ramirez trying to pick up this man from third base. Hanley at .283 with 11 homers. He's driven in 54. Had a quiet night last night after he owned the night on Wednesday against San Francisco. He's 0 for 3 with a walk yesterday. Red Sox 1, Minnesota nothing here in the first. Gibson looking to minimize the damage. He fires a 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes.
This way Hanley's going to narrow that strike zone down now. I mean, if you're thinking long ball, you think middle in to try to pull the ball out of the ballpark.
Red Sox tonight playing game number 94 on the schedule. They have played the fewest games of any team in the big leagues. 2-1.
Completely fooled there. He did not get a fastball on the 2-0 count. He got the slider that time. 2 balls, no strikes. You're not guessing breaking ball. You're thinking fastball in a certain location. That time he got the slider and no contact.
Jackie Bradley would be next. Pedroia at third and 2 down. And the 6'6" right-hander with a 2-1. Line to right field. Pretty well hit, but Kepler there to make the play and retire the side. Red Sox get 1 on another home run from Mookie Betts. His 20th of the season. 1-0 Boston. Enjoy one of Fenway's special pregame spaces, accommodating as many as 200 guests. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/groups. On a packed house here at Fenway on a very warm night. Around 90 degrees inside Fenway Park as we get underway here to the second inning, 1-0. Sox with the lead on the Betts home run. Now, when he faced Minnesota back in June, Rodriguez pitched very well early, but then he got shelled. He wound up with a no decision, even though the Red Sox scored 15 runs in that game. That was on June 11. So even if he had had a so-so game, he would have walked away with a win.
Hey, see what goes on between starts is they practice in the bullpen, obviously, their side session, and right there they're talking about that slider that we've told you about that he was throwing in New York and thrown quite a bit so far tonight.
Dozier, the batter, working hard with Carl Willis. They've had a lot of those sessions, and a lot of them about tipping pitches. Big overshift around to the left on a pull hitting Dozier here as he takes another one in tight.
Yeah, every pitcher, in case you don't know, between starts will throw one time. There you see the shift on Dustin Pedroia. Pulls over to shortstop. Long throw for Pedroia if he gets a ground ball.
Yeah, back to his shortstop days. High fly ball. That one tagged deep to left center field. That's way back there, and it is gone. A home run for Dozier, his 17th, and he has quickly tied this ball game at 1 apiece.
You know, that's why I was a little bit surprised when they had an attempted steal in the first inning, because you had Dozier at the plate, a guy that certainly is capable of hitting a home run. He gets a fastball toward the outside part of the plate, but hooks it on a Fenway Park for the home run.
"17 home runs for Dozier, 50 runs batted in. He's a big-time power source for the Twins, and that'll bring up Sano, who's another one who's hit 14 home runs. So a 1-1 game here in the second.
Here comes the first changeup of the night.
Sano 236, and he swings hard. 18 home runs last year as a rookie. Man, a lefty with an 0-1.
If you didn't watch the game last night, we chatted about Sano a little bit. This is going to be the biggest third baseman in the game of baseball. That's a big man.
6'4", 262 before breakfast. And he gets a piece. He hit some tape measure shots when he does connect. Finished third in the American League Rookie of the Year voting last year, behind Carlos Correa and Francisco Lindor. Lindor, bright young star of the Cleveland Indians. They're taking on the Orioles at Camden Yards tonight. First inning, no score. The Orioles, throughout their organization, bitten by a stomach virus, which has made its way around their clubhouse. Fouled back, still 1-2.
Wanted to elevate the fastball that time. I think they wanted Rodriguez to go a little bit higher than that with the fastball. That became a pretty good hitting pitch right there.
Max Kepler on deck for Minnesota, and the 1-2 to Sano. Did he go? He did. First base umpire Fagan rings him up. So that's it for Sano. He becomes the second strikeout victim for Rodriguez.
That's already more strikeouts than he had in his last start. Very close right there. I think the Red Sox may have caught a break. That was a changeup that time from Rodriguez for the strikeout. Last outing, as we mentioned, 1 against the Yankees, 2 so far in the game tonight. This Twins team strikes out a lot.
9 times last night against Stephen Wright. Here's Kepler. 235 with 10 home runs. He went around. That's a swing and a miss for a strike. The German-born outfielder who is fluent in 3 languages. Bases empty, 1 away, tied 1-1. Chopped along first, but a foul ball by Kepler. Eduardo against Minnesota back in June lasted just 4 2/3 innings. Give 6 hits, 4 runs. He walked 4 men. So he was on the wild side in that start for sure. Although early in the game he was very sharp. It was a very odd outing. He had them hitless through 3 2/3 innings and kind of fell apart. Here's the 1-2 on the way. Can't get him to chase that one. That was another slider. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, we're seeing even more sliders early in the game tonight than we did at Yankee Stadium.
Escobar on deck. 1 man out here for the Twins. And the 2-2 on the way. He's run it full. Back on June 12th, Minnesota beat the Red Sox in 10 innings when Kepler hit a walk-off 3-run homer. It was his first career home run in the majors. 3-2 and a base hit up the middle. They really like him. They think he's a terrific athlete. He's going to really hit, even though he came in hitting just .235. Second hit in the inning for the Twins. NESN is proud to support the Men's Wearhouse National Suit Drive in July. When you make a donation of gently used professional clothing at any Men's Wearhouse location, you help men and women look their best as they re-enter the workforce. Learn more at nationalsuitdrive.com. So Kepler is on and Escobar will stand in, the shortstop, number 7 hitter at .263 with 3 home runs. The Orioles are at it again with the big fly. Trumbo struck again. 3-run homer, and Baltimore now leads Cleveland 3-0 in the second inning. The Yankees lead the Giants 1-0 in the second. That's where the Giants went after losing to 2 here at Fenway. They had a day off yesterday. The 1-0 fouled off the catcher.
Once again, it's on a slider again. That's 3 in a row. One that he threw on a 3-2 count that Kepler did a pretty good job getting a base hit on. And now he starts off Escobar with 2 sliders.
Minnesota with 3 hits here in the early going. Rodriguez from the set with Kepler aboard. And a ground ball, maybe 2. Shaw up with it. Gets the out at second, on to first. Close, safe. So no double play. Kepler erased in the middle. And Escobar now the runner at first.
Now the difference in that double play, watch when Shaw has to take a step back. That's going to be the difference at first base. Right there, he takes a step backwards because he's trying to play the good hop. And it's one of those ones where, you know, you don't know whether to do charge it or wait for it to bounce again. If you charge it, you got a good chance of booting it. But by taking that step back, he plays it clean. They do get it out, but it did cost him the double play.
Number 8 hitter Juan Centeno, the catcher, hitting just .233 with 2 home runs. Not a lot of scary numbers out of this Minnesota batting lineup. And the first one right through there at 92. Centeno, a left-hand hitter from Puerto Rico, came up through the Mets system. Puerto Rico produces a lot of catching talent. 2 down, a man on, and we're tied 1-1 here in the second. Lash foul, and quickly 0-2. Game 3 of this 4-game series tomorrow night, 7:10. David Price against Ricky Nolasco, and on Sunday afternoon at 1:35, Rick Porcello against Tommy Malone, a lefty.
See now if he goes with the breaking ball away. Nope, the fastball upstairs.
Rodriguez with the 0-2, and he blows him away with a fastball. Down he goes, but they tie it on a Dozier home run. We're even at 1. Lows. The Red Sox last 7 at Fenway to 7-0, scoring almost 8 runs a game, and tied for the longest Red Sox home win streak of the season. Bottom of the second, and a ground ball to the shortstop to his right. Escobar gathers that and gets Jackie Bradley gone on 1 pitch.
A lot of times that's a base hit for Jackie Bradley because they play him in a shift, but not that time. And I think the reason for that is because there's kind of a sinker that goes away from Jackie Bradley, and a lot of times from left-handed hitters, they'll take that pitch to the opposite field. I think that's why they didn't have the shift on him.
Fast out, Travis Shaw will climb in 264 with 11 home runs. He was 1 for 4 yesterday. Red Sox seem to be liking the first pitch against Gibson. Not this time with Shaw. Now, Mookie Betts said that Travis Shaw told him last night before the game, when you go up there, swing at the first pitch, when he hit that home run on the first pitch last night. Lashes that one foul, but Travis admitted he tells Mookie that every day. Every time he goes up there for the first at bat, swing at the first pitch. Most of the time he doesn't.
Well, you know, a lot of times the feeling that you have as a leadoff hitter is the first pitch of the game is going to be a fastball.
Travis loves the first pitch. Into the dirt, 2-1.
You know, it's kind of you don't know what to do sometimes as a leadoff man, because you know, there are those that say, well, you should see a lot of pitches, and there's others that'll say, look, you're going to get a fastball. If you get a fastball, take a swing at it.
There's a high fly ball to right field. He got under that one. Kepler still backing up, but has room to make the play, and they're 2 down. Leon will be next. Catch a condensed 2-hour version of every Sox game each night at midnight on Sox in 2. Sox in 2 is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. Mookie homered again tonight on the second pitch of the evening. It was thrown to him, but Minnesota has come back in a Dozier home run to tie it. So we're at 1-1 here in the second, and Sandy Leon the batter at .435 for batting average. He is 2 for 2 against Kyle Gibson. Nobody on base, 2 down.
First fastball away, second fastball down the middle of the plate. They wanted it on an inside corner, but it ran back through the middle for the strike.
And the 0-2 to the Red Sox catcher. And he's taking.
And if you watch the catcher right there, Centeno, you know a curveball's coming, because, or a breaking ball, I should say. That, in that case, a slider. Because watch it, prior to that, he was tapping his glove on the ground. He wants that pitch down low. It's kind of a reminder to the pitcher, get on top of the baseball. Change up.
1-2. Fly ball right field. Kepler will make that catch, and the Red Sox are going to go 1-2-3 here in the second inning. We're tied up 1-1.
Top of the third, we're tied at 1 here at Fenway Park. Hello, everybody. I'm Garen Austin. Some roster moves today. Junichi Tozawa, who was on the DL with shoulder impingement, was activated. And John Farrell said the time off was good for him. And for tonight, they'll just have to pick their spots. There are no restrictions on him. And guys, John Farrell also said that Koji Uehara received a PRP injection, and that will require a bit of downtime, and there's no return date at this point.
Okay, thank you, Garen. Remembering he is 41 years old, so the recovery is going to maybe take a little bit longer under most circumstances. Big cut and a miss here by Byron Buxton. He'll be followed by Eduardo Nunez and then Robbie Grossman here in the third inning. Byron Buxton of Baxley, Georgia. Hitting just 199, and he lofts that one foul out of play.
Yeah, it's amazing how many strikeouts he has on the season. He's walked 9 times with 70 strikeouts and down 0-2 here.
So Rodriguez trying to put him away. That would be his 4th K if he could get him right here. Check swing, and it's inside.
That's a good slider right there. No balls, 2 strikes, trying to get inside, get on the hands of Buxton.
Two-strike pitch, and that one ties him up, and down he goes, strike 3. 4th strikeout for Eduardo tonight.
Yeah, right back to the slider again. So he quickly gets ahead 0-2, back-to-back sliders, and the second one he swings right on top of. That one was more tempting to swing at, but that is the 71st time Buxton has struck out this year.
Off to find that bat rack, and that'll send up Nunez 0 for 1. He's lined to right field. Red Sox have kept him off the bases so far in the series, and he's one of the better base stealers in the American League. He is 23. A mighty cut, but a swing and a miss.
Change up that time from Rodriguez. We mentioned last night also, if you watch the game, Minnesota 3rd in the league in stolen bases, and this is one of the reasons why. 23 for Nunez.
Yeah, he's 3rd in the American League. Here comes the 0-1. Rattle foul. DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Red Sox. Experience the thrill of playing on DraftKings right now. You can play free daily using the promo code NESSN at DraftKings.com. 0-2 on the leadoff man Nunez, who was with the Yankees for 4 years. He was 0 for 4 last night. In fact, the Twins 1 through 3 hitters were a combined 0 for 12 against Stephen Wright and Clay Buchholz. Nunez back in with the bases empty and 1 man away. We are tied 1-1 in the third. Chopped in a fair ball behind the bag. Lengthy throw, and Shaw right on target with it. 2 up and 2 down. Robbie Grossman will climb in next. Tomorrow at 6, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Joseph Abboud, available at Men's Warehouse. TC and Steve Lyons have a complete recap of the run to home base.
That's interesting, Dave. When you watch Travis Shaw throw to first base, it's almost like he throws it just about as hard as he has to. You know, if he needs a little extra, he's got it. If he knows he's got time, he doesn't put as much on it. Just tries to make an accurate throw.
Reminds me, in that regard anyway, a lot of Mike Lowell, as that one is pop foul back out of play.
That's a good comparison right there. There's Travis Shaw playing deep, and he's got to back up, but he still knows he has time. And you can see it's not a bullet to first base by any means, but just good enough to get that runner by a step and a half.
1 strike on Grossman, who singled his first time up, and then later was caught stealing. And a fly ball popped to center shallow. Pedroia out, and Jackie Bradley coming on. That'll retire the side. Nice quick inning for Rodriguez. True fact, on this date in 1960, Ted Williams stole his first base of the season and became the first major leaguer to record a stolen base in 4 separate decades. Twisted Tea is the hard iced tea that tastes like real iced tea. Be a little twisted. And a bluff bunt here by Brock Holt to open up the bottom of the third. We're tied up 1-1. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien, Garen Austin with you from Fenway. Red Sox going for a 4th consecutive win. Brock Holt leading off the inning, then Mookie Betts, who's homered, and Dustin Pedroia. In for a called strike to even up the count on Brock. 265, 5 home runs. You saw his season high 9-game hitting streak come to an end last night when he went 0 for 3. And another strike. Go back over the last 27 games that Brock Holt has started. The Red Sox are 21-6 in those games. 2-2.
Just about straight up all the way around on the defense for the Twins against Brock Holt.
Gibson's 2-2 pitch is waved down and missed. Down he goes for strike 3.
Let's go back to the first inning when Betts hit the home run, and I want you to pay attention to his hands. You wonder why he hits the ball well inside. Watch how quick his hands are getting inside the baseball and getting the barrel of the bat out. Look where his hands are and the barrel of the bat. How quickly he's able to get to that inside pitch.
He is locked in now. 20 home runs, Jerry.
No, Dave, to me, he's one of the quickest in the game on a pitch inside. It's hard to get one by him in there.
Bounding ball snatched by Sano to his left. A nice play, and he has a very strong arm. She likes to show off. 2 up and 2 down. Pedroia next. So 2 down and the base is empty. Pedroia struck out in the first inning after going 5 for 5 last night. He tied Carl Yastrzemski and Johnny Pesky by going 5 for 5 in a game for the 4th time in his career. And the first one right down the middle for a strike.
Change up on the first pitch that time at 83, right down the middle of the plate, but obviously Dustin not looking for a change up in that situation. First pitch.
A 1-1 tie in the third. Lash foul. Pedroia became the first Red Sox hitter to ring up 5 hits since June of 2010 when he did it against Colorado.
I remember that game. If I'm not mistaken, I think Pedroia hit a home run in that ball game too.
I think you're right, and not long after that he got hurt on that road trip in San Francisco, as that one is well outside. Bogart's on deck. Pedroia hitting .303 with 9 home runs, looking for his first career hit against Gibson. He's 0 for 7 against this right-hander. And a 1-2 on the way. Fly ball left center field. Buxton has room there on the track. That'll do it for the Red Sox. They go in order. We're still tied up 1-1. moment honoring the '86 Sox, and in their 94th game of 1986, the Red Sox lost 9-2 to the Oakland A's. Al Nipper dropped to 4-7. Carney Lansford hit 2 home runs for Oakland. Of course, he played for both franchises. Joe Mauer lead things off here in the 4th inning. We're tied up 1-1. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien. Mauer, 3-time American League batting champ and a 6-time All-Star, although not what he has been. Hitting just .263 this year. Hit .265 last year, .277 the year before that. His big contract still has 2 years to run beyond this one at $23 million a year.
Yeah, he's the local guy they wanted to keep home, and they gave him that very long contract. Last time he was could have become a free agent. Local kid from the Minnesota area, very popular there.
And he was a truly great hitter for a long time. As he checks and nets down, and it hit .347 in '06, .328 in '08, .365 in '09.
And those are years when he was catching.
And he showed a little power too a couple of times. 28 home runs one year. But really, he's just become an okay hitter the last few years. He cuts right through that one.
There's a confidence there, and Rodriguez throwing his changeup that time to a left-handed hitter. He didn't leave it inside. He left it down and out over the plate, which is a better spot. When you leave that pitch inside to a lefty, it can be very dangerous.
Rodriguez trying to whiff him for the second time, but up top for a ball at 93 miles an hour. So full count on Mauer. Dozier on deck.
It's like Rodriguez tried to overthrow that last fastball, opened up a little bit too soon, which caused the ball to go high.
Mauer has hit 8 home runs. And a payoff pitch from the southpaw, and he gets him for the second time. He strikes out Mauer.
They kind of figured this to be a different type of game for Rodriguez tonight against a team that does strike out a lot. The fastball again, second time he's got Mauer tonight on the fastball.
Strikeout number 5 for Eduardo. Brings up Dozier, who blasted a home run in the second inning to tie the game. His 17th. When they've played well, he's usually been right in the middle of it. Talking about Dozier, he scored 100 or more runs each of the last 2 years, and often drives himself in. He takes a big swing. Here comes the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
2 pretty good pitches right there. At first it was a slider that picked up the outside corner. Then he tries the changeup away and just missed.
Once again, Dustin Pedroia in the shift on the left side of second. Popped him up, but that'll twist. Giving Chase Shaw over near the dugout of the Minnesota Twins, but off into the box seats.
Let's go back to Dozier's home run back in the second inning. It looks like a fastball he got from Rodriguez, and that ball was a little bit toward the outside part of the plate, but still hooked out of the ballpark by Dozier.
I'm talking about Pedroia now into shallow left center field. How many times in your career as a second baseman did you play there?
Not many at all. We didn't shift nearly as much as they do in the game today. Obviously, they're much more sophisticated than it was. There were a few hitters I had to go to that side against. Carlton Fisk was one of them, and I hated it because I just wasn't used to throwing from that area. You know, warm-ups and ground balls before the game, everything was at second base. All of a sudden you're playing in a spot that you're not comfortable with, and actually I was a little bit scared to get a ground ball and have to throw it from there.
2-2 rattled five, and that is a long throw for Dustin Pedroia.
Yeah, but you know, as you mentioned earlier, back in the first time he did it, he's a guy that was a shortstop, so you know he's done it. He's been there, done that. Me, the last time I played shortstop was when I was in high school.
Yeah. So that arm is not there.
No.
By the time you get to the big leagues necessarily. Not anymore. 2-2. All filled up now. Dozier
Now, as a matter of fact, when I signed and they saw my arm, they immediately moved me to second base.
Sano on deck. Rodriguez looking for back-to-back Ks. And a foul ball instead.
There's the confidence in the 3-2 count to throw the slider right there from Rodriguez. Something that we wouldn't see, earlier in the season. He's thrown a lot of them in this game tonight. There's a slider right there, and right on top of it is Dozier.
Well, if Erod hangs one, he knows Dozier can pounce on it. Not a big guy, but excellent power.
One of the changeup on the 3-2 count.
Soft looper into right field is going to drop down for a base hit. Betts has to charge on it. Dozier wants second. Mookie gunning. The scoop to tag safe at second base. We'll see if the Red Sox challenge that. John Farrell is up. Torey Lovullo is on the horn to the video room.
Take another look at it quickly. The catch, the high tag. The tag around the knee and the toe on the bag. Boy, that is really close.
Ruled safe by Paul Emmel, the second base umpire. This will be challenged by the Red Sox.
I don't know if there's enough evidence to turn that call around right there. I mean, that is very close. The tag, as you can see, was up around the knee. And the toe looked like it got to the bag just at about the same time.
Pedroia did a great job to scoop that. But did he get the tag down in time to get Dozier?
I'll tell you what. As we look at it on a close-up, I don't know if the tag's on there yet. The foot's not. We run it forward a little bit. I don't know. He may have him. We'll see.
That blow-up that was showing you, they do see that in New York. The umpire at the review center who is looking at this right now. Here's another really super slow version. Is the tag on him right there in front of the toe? Maybe.
The reason it was that close, there's the tag right there, it looks like. So if that's the case, then he will be called out. What I was going to say, what hustle by Dozier? Whether he's out or safe, that's good hustle.
Yep. Well, they have a decision. They've come back now, and he's out. So give Betts an assist. No double for Dozier as he is cut down trying to make it 2 bases. Got a big hand from Pedroia. Made a marvelous play to scoop and get the tag down.
Yeah, that's going to go overlooked, I think. And we shouldn't overlook it because when you see the hop that Pedroia got, he had to quickly show quick hands to go up and get the ball and then come back with the tag.
So instead of 1 out and a man in scoring position, 2 down and the base is loaded for Sano, who struck out his first time. Hitting .235, 14 home runs. They're massive third baseman. Tied up 1-1 in the 4th. The 1-0.
Talk about quick hands from Pedroia. Watch how he has to scoop this ball on the bounce. It's a tough bounce. The glove automatically goes up, and then he has to quickly get back down for the tag. So that's some pretty impressive glove work right there by Dustin Pedroia.
He made a spectacular play on a line drive up the middle against San Francisco the other night. I really think he's playing some of the best defensive second base he has played in a long time.
He's played great defensive second base. He's finally healthy.
His hands have been feeling great all year. The 2-1. Line drive, and he can't reach this one. It'll be a base hit into right field. So Sano's aboard. That's their second hit in the inning. Sox fans looking for the best seats to the biggest games? Check out the official Red Sox ticket resale marketplace at RedSoxReplay.com. It's the best place for season ticket holders to sell their tickets when they can't make it to the game.
It's interesting. People say to me, why does Pedroia dive for everything? You know why? Because he can't help himself. I mean, it's true. There are balls that are hit he's got no chance of making a play on, but yet he still dives. That's just him. Now watch this ball. I mean, it's not even close when he dives. The ball's already by him. But, when you're that type of player, you just can't help yourself. You think that you can dive and catch everything.
Well, the people who ask you that question are asking because they want to see his career go a little bit longer.
Sure.
And
but
there's all this, pounding he takes because of this.
I have to think of Paul Molitor, the manager in the other dugout. He suffered a lot of injuries to his legs later on in his career.
Kepler, the batter, 2 down, and he'll take a ball.
And I remember one year they told him, don't run every ball out hard to first base. Well, that was not in Molitor's DNA. He couldn't do that. He had to run the ball out as hard as he could. This guy played as hard as you could possibly play the game of baseball. And I had to laugh when I heard that. I said, because it's not going to happen.
Yeah, forget that one on Pedroia. It's in there for a strike. That'll never stop. When he's 42, he's going to be throwing his body down like that.
You're exactly right.
And you know what? I think most Red Sox fans are overjoyed by that kind of effort on every play. The 2-1 fouled off by Kepler.
Well, not only Red Sox fans, but Red Sox pitchers. When you're a pitcher and you have infielders diving for balls all over the infield, you appreciate that. You may not appreciate it in the moment because sometimes they end up as base hits, obviously. But when you think back on the ball game and you think back over a long season, you say, hey, man, this guy was diving for everything for me. That makes them feel pretty good.
Sano on at first base. We were talking about that in a slightly different vein on outfielders who don't move on a home run.
Yeah.
When a right fielder just stands there as it goes flying 500 feet, doesn't move a muscle, doesn't even pretend to go back toward the wall on it. And that is in there for strike 3. Made a big pitch to strike him out. We're tied 1-1. Series is brought to you by Santander Bank. You're all right with Simply Right checking from Santander Bank. There may be some weather headed our way from the west. Dave Meller, head groundskeeper for the Red Sox, was out talking with the umpires before the game, and he had his iPad. He tracks the weather on as he came out to chat in there for a strike on Xander Bogaerts. So underway here in the bottom of the 4th inning, we're tied 1-1. And if there is weather coming in and aimed at Fenway Park, it would behoove the Red Sox to get at least a run here and get out in front heading to the 5th. 4.5 of the home team in front, of course, is an official game.
Yeah, I got a feeling we're going to be in a threat for thunderstorms for quite a few days with this hot, humid weather we're having.
Temperatures in the upper 90s today. As Xander looks at the ball, he has an infield single tonight, 1 for 1. Now hitting .326. Getting a little ugly there.
Yeah. Not even worry about it. There's just play ball.
Bogaerts 7 for 14 on the homestand. He's come alive again after a mini slump. Slumps don't seem to last very long. Minnesota just perfect for him, because this year he's hitting a David Ortiz in the 2013 World Series like .684 against Minnesota. As a swing at a foul ball on a changeup, he just got a piece of it. 2-2.
That ball almost come back to fair territory when it bounced around home plate. That's what Centennial was hoping to catch her as he pounced out there.
Bogaerts is wearing out the Twins staff coming into tonight. 13 for 19 against them for the year in 4 games with 10 RBIs. Chopped and a foul ball outside third. Bogaerts now with 22 hits in his last 9 games against Minnesota. Would it be fascinating to hear their pitching meetings going into a series against Xander Bogaerts?
Yeah, you know, you try different things obviously when a guy's wearing you out, and notice they're playing him straight up right now, a little bit to pull on the left side of the infield.
Outside, you know, the wind is really kicked up, and a flag in center blowing out.
Yeah.
For a right-hand hitter.
Yeah, this would be a good time to pop one in the air right now to center field or left field.
Kyle Gibson with a 3-2 pitch.
It's going to be a slider.
And he got him with it. He strikes him out. So 1 away in the Red Sox 4th inning in a 1-1 tie. David Ortiz next. Tuesday is Build a Poppy night at Fenway Park. First 15,000 fans receive a Build a Poppy kit courtesy of Coca-Cola that will turn fans into their favorite designated hitter. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/promos.
Yeah, Build a Poppy. You know, you can put the necklace on, cut his beard the way you want to cut it, unbutton the shirt.
Little jewelry, some jewelry included. He's got the big gold medallion tonight. David with home run number 24 last night. First time up tonight, he hit into a double play. Ortiz leading the American League in slugging percentage, extra base hits, doubles. He's number 2 in the batting race. He's 3rd in on base percentage and in total bases. In for a strike. 2-1.
At the end of the year, we're going to have to look back at players who have announced their retirement and what kind of year they had in their last season. I don't know if you're going to find anybody that's having the kind of year that Ortiz is having.
Toward the shift, ranging over. 2 down. As Sano makes the play, that one goes 5-3. Think Energy, powering Fenway, and the smart choice to power your home. Visit thinkenergy.com to enroll today. That's 10 in a row set down by Gibson. He's gotten to a nice groove here. Again, he came in 2-6 with an ERA of 5.12. So the resume was not impressive. We're tied 1-1. Here's Hanley Ramirez, who was lined out. Well hit ball to right field, hauled in by Kepler in the first inning. And he starts him with a fastball high.
Missed a little time earlier in the season with a right shoulder strain, did Gibson.
Now 28 years old. Came back from Tommy John surgery, which he underwent in 2012. Missed about all of that year.
Well, Hanley's in that situation again where you narrow that strike zone down for a pitch you want to pull and hit out of the ballpark.
Nobody on base. Red Sox with only 2 hits so far tonight. Right to the third baseman. Sano's been a busy guy there. and gets him. 1-2-3 go to Red Sox for the third consecutive inning. It's a 1-1 game at Fenway. Clubhouse presented by Delta Dental of Massachusetts. You learn how to stretch before a start. Also new ways to stay safe on the mound. Catch it Sunday at noon. To the fifth inning, a change for the Red Sox, and a bit of a surprise obviously because Michael Martinez is now in right field, so Mookie Betts is out of the game. Mookie had homered right away and then grounded out to third in the third inning. He's made a couple of plays in the outfield, but we didn't see anything that jumped out as far as an injury. We'll get you an update as soon as we can. So here in the top of the fifth inning, Escobar to lead things off against Eduardo Rodriguez. And maybe some weather coming at us here at Fenway. Tied up 1-1. And pop foul. The sky is really sensational looking. A lot of different colors and cloud formations all of a sudden. That is some view from down below. Not the one we really want, though. Escobar 0 for 1. Juan Centeno, their catcher, on deck, and then Byron Buxton. Minnesota coming in with a record of 35-60. Meanwhile, Baltimore has jumped out in front of the Indians 5-0 in the fourth inning. 1-2 fouled off himself.
Another good slider there from Rodriguez, and you see Escobar hitting it on top of it, fouling it off his lower body. Exactly where you want it down there too. It's a good strikeout area right there, but just hitting on top of it was Escobar.
Getting the word on Mookie Betts as to why he came out of the game. Right knee soreness. He is day to day. Now you can see Dave Miller back there on the phone right behind John Farrell. I'll bet that's with the Weather Service. One and two to Escobar. And he loops that foul out of play. The fastball has been 92 to 95 tonight for Eduardo.
And it's no surprise either that the groundskeeper is in the Red Sox dugout, because you like to know what's coming in. And if you're going to play for one run.
Little home field advantage. 1-2 is inside. Rodriguez with 6 strikeouts in the book. He has allowed a solo home run. Down there in Canvas Alley, grounds crew is beginning to assemble. So it's coming. Shot to center. Bradley back on the track there and makes the catch on the back pedal. I thought for just a split second he might have been late getting there, but he recovered.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch Bradley in center field. Watch him turn his back completely to home plate. A little bit of a freeze, then he turns and just sprints, and then turns back around and picks up the baseball. So he's headed back in the right direction. He turns back, is able to pick up the baseball and make the catch. A complete sprint out toward the warning track.
One down, Centennial to catcher, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Left-hand hitter goes after the first pitch and flicks it foul. Former Milwaukee Brewer. And now their backup guy, Buxton, on deck. 1-1 the score in the 5th. And a 1-strike pitch got jammed, and it is caught by Rodriguez for the second out. A's Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox tickets with the best seats at the lowest prices with a 200% guarantee. A's Ticket is Boston's biggest selection of Boston Red Sox tickets from bleachers to boxes. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. 2 down in the 5th. And Buxton to swing. He's 0 for 1. We mentioned he's from Baxley, Georgia, a tiny town about 100 miles from Savannah. He was a 2-sport star there in high school. And a talented enough wide receiver that the University of Georgia offered him a football scholarship.
I remember in spring training there was big talk about Byron Buxton.
A lot of talk about his arm strength outstanding.
It's been an offensive struggle for him, obviously, so far this season. But a guy that the Twins like an awful lot. Great athletic ability, as you highlighted.
A first-round pick. And the 1-1 from Eduardo. Fouled off the catcher.
Again, certainly a potential strikeout waiting to happen right here with the count 1-2. He's already gone down once today, and that was on a slider down and in. Let's see how they approach him now with the 1-2 count. Gonna do the slider again.
Into the dirt to make it 2-2.
I love Leon, what he's doing. He puts the slider down, then he points. He wants it down. Make sure you get this pitch down low, and he's actually pointing down into the dirt. Watch Leon. Get it down.
The Red Sox Venezuelan connection, both the catcher and the pitcher from Venezuela. Here's the 2-2. Ground ball. That one toward the hole. Scooped up by Shaw. Off balance. That's going to be off the glove of Ramirez. Buxton taking off. He's heading into second base. He's going to reach. Takes a big turn, but will not go on to third. So they have a man in scoring position now with 2 down and good wheels at second.
That kind of an off-balance throw by Travis Shaw. He has to go far to his left to make that, and then that's really the only position you can get into to get Buxton, who has very good speed. Once the ball gets by Hanley, Buxton was actually thinking about 3 bases. But Xander Bogaerts quickly was heads up and got to third, or he'd have been moving to third base.
So it's a base hit and an error on Shaw on the throw. And a runner at second base, top of the order, Nunez, who has gone 0 for 2 tonight. Tomorrow at 6:30, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by DCU. TC and Steve Lyons have an in-depth preview of David Price's start. DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? Nunez with a line drive to right, grounded to third base. He has not reached base in the series. And we'll see if the miscue costs Rodriguez here. That is ball one.
After you make a play like that, and you draw an error to allow a man to get in a scoring position, you want that feel of them really wanting out right here. You don't want that run scoring. Please save me.
Yeah, now with the weather on the way, poked foul to make it 1-1. So Buxton at second, representing the go-ahead run for Minnesota. And Leon out for another conversation. We'll take a look at his pitching line now for Eduardo Rodriguez. It's brought to you by Ace Ticket. 4 2/3, 6 hits. He stayed away from ball for 6 strikeouts. Nunez has been their best player. He's hitting .303. He went to the All-Star game for them. Raked foul. And now 1-2. I mentioned Nunez with his 23 stolen bases. He is third in the American League. Jose Altuve leads with 25. Altuve's a guy who's got to be in the MVP discussion.
He's just doing everything again this year.
Hitting .357 to lead the American League. He's number 1 in hits. Plays great defense. The 1-2. He tied him up. He strikes him out. Gets out of it with that slider and freezes that runner at second base. We're tied 1-1.
The bottom of the 5th, and we're still tied at 1. And tomorrow you can join Tom, Karen, and myself in supporting the 2016 Run to Home Base presented by New Balance. Money raised helps provide clinical care and counseling for veterans and their families. And if you'd like to donate or to find out more information, visit runtohomebase.org. And OB Jerry, I know we've talked about this a lot this season. My dad is retired Navy and he currently works at the Pentagon. And today is his birthday. And I picked up my number and I'm running for my dad tomorrow. So I'm very excited.
Can you say how old Dad is? You're not going to. That's a wise lady right there. I know he's in great shape too. He's retired Navy. And Garen's been training very, very hard for that. 1-1 our score here in the 5th. Jackie Bradley followed by Travis Shaw and then Sandy Leon. Jackie with a ground ball to short his first time up. Rockets that one foul. Right over near Canvas Alley, where the grounds crew has been assembled just in case. Jackie 296 with 15 homers. Number 15 last night to center field. He hooks that fly ball into right field, and Kepler will trot in now. One man away. Gibson really mowing the Red Sox down tonight.
Yeah, Gibson's got pretty good stuff right now. You know, he's mixing all his pitches up. The slider, that sinking fastball. That was a curveball that time to Bradley Jr.
He's retired 12 consecutive Red Sox. Quieting an offense that had scored 24 runs the previous 2 nights. At least to this point. Here's Travis Shaw now, 0 for 1 with a fly to right. He'll look at strike 1. Talking about the first pitch and how much Travis Shaw loves it. He's not swung at it tonight, but since the start of last season, he's 5th in the majors on first pitch OPS at 1481 when he goes after the first pitch. He's 23 for 50. Doesn't do it all the time, but he advised Mookie Betts to do it last night. He says he's been doing that all season long. Here's the 0-2. On deck, Sandy Leon. Sox and Twins tomorrow night, 7:10. David Price against Ricky Nolasco. David will go in 9-7. Nolasco at 4-8. And a 1-2 from Gibson. That's in there for strike 3. Caught him looking.
Yeah, surprised him that time. You know, he shook off a number of signs and locations. He wanted to go inside with the fastball, and there's that 2-seamer coming back just a little bit. You can see the late movement on it coming back to the corner of the plate. Good pitch by Gibson.
He's been impressive tonight. He has set down 13 in a row. Now Leon was one of those with a fly to right field. Tied up 1-1 in the 5th. Gibson had a promising season last year. Went 11-11 with a 384 earned run average in 32 starts. Threw almost 200 innings. So far this year, a lot more hittable, at least coming into this game. 287 against him. But he's held the Sox to 2 hits. And he fires in another strike. That slider's been a real good pitch for him.
Yeah, it has, and he's thrown a lot of them.
He's worked at a very good tempo. 1-2.
You know, he gets you looking outside because he throws that sinking fastball as a left-handed hitter. And then when he comes inside, he kind of surprises you. Wants to go back to the slider. We'll see if they go to that same sequence of signs. Shakes off the fastball away. He wants the slider again.
Back to that, the 1-2. High fly foul down the right field line.
It's not rocket science, folks. If you watch it at home and nobody on base, nobody at second base, you know, 1's the fastball, 2's the curve, 3's the slider, the wiggle's the changeup, and then they'll show location if it's a fastball where they want it. Sometimes they'll show location where they want the slider. Follow along, sing along with me. Slider away, no. Slider in him. Changeup. Wants it down.
1-2. Lunging pop-up foul off third. Sano giving chase with room, and that's all. The Red Sox go 1-2-3 for the 4th straight inning at the hand of Gibson. Safety division would like to remind you there are too many fatal crashes caused by drivers under the influence. When you're out having fun, driving buzzed or high is never an option. Take a taxi, Uber, or the T. What's your plan? To the 6th inning. So far 1 run, 6 hits off Rodriguez. Red Sox have 1 run on 2 hits against Gibson. So still knotted up. Grossman will lead things off as Hembree is getting loose in the bullpen now.
88 pitches right now for Rodriguez.
2, 3, and 4 here from Minnesota. Grossman is singled and flying to center field.
A good slider again that time for Rodriguez. Inside, down and in to the right-handed hitter.
He's dropped his ERA tonight from 7.18 to 6.53. Not a good pitch, and that time Grossman comes up empty for the strikeout.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the confidence that he has in that pitch all of a sudden. I mean, we didn't see any of this at the beginning of the year. Now we're seeing a lot of it in this game tonight. Slider again, down in the strike zone, and gets the swing and miss.
8 strikeouts tonight at 90 pitches. He's got this guy Joe Mauer twice on strikes in the first and again in the fourth. We're tied 1-1.
If my count is right, 4 of the 8 have been on the slider. Mauer twice has struck out tonight on the fastball from Rodriguez.
Each side with a solo home run tonight, and that's all the scoring. Fouled away by Mauer, hitting just .263. Former American League MVP, won it 2009. We were honored last night to be joined by another great Minnesota hitter, Hall of Famer, and Rod Carew. Just a thrill when you remember just how good Rod Carew was with a bat in his hands. And he's in the battle of his life right now.
Yep.
Looking for a heart transplant. He'll be heading off to California. He's going to have to stay close to Cedars-Sinai there in case that day does happen for him where he can have that transplant. The 2-1 is outside.
I think he wants to go to the Hall of Fame ceremonies over the weekend, Sunday in Cooperstown, and then head back to California. So he's not far away from the hospital if that heart becomes available.
But I was really honored to have him in our broadcast booth. Magnificent hitter. The 3-1 pitch. And he walks him. So it's the first ball 4 by Rodriguez tonight. He puts on Mauer, who he struck out twice. And here comes John Farrell. With Dozier coming up, the night is over for Erod as he pitches into the 6th inning. And that's going to do it. Leaves behind a base runner in a 1-1 game. Rodriguez is done. He just walked a man. He struck out 8 and he allowed 6 hits. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Kia. That gives way to Heath Hembree. Jerry, I think we both like this move, and it was a bit of a sloppy walk to Mauer too after he had struck him out twice.
Well, and I also think that Farrell does not like the matchup. You know, he's getting up there over 90 pitches, around 90, a little bit above. And I don't think he likes the matchup with Dozier. Dozier's hit a home run off him tonight, also singled off him. So he's going for the right-hander Hembree in this situation.
Yeah, and it took an outstanding play by Betts and Pedroia to keep Dozier from second base. He was actually cut down trying to make that single a double. 1 out, a runner at first base, and Dozier with 17 home runs gets in. We're tied up 1-1 in the 6th inning. So far, not a drop of rain at Fenway. Although Dave Miller's been out there several times to talk with the umpires and keep them abreast. Robbie Ross Jr. loosening in the pen. And Hembree with the 0-1. Into the dirt. Heath 4-0, a 219 earned run average. Does have 35 strikeouts in 37 innings. And facing a team that strikes out a lot. So 1 ball and 1 strike to their cleanup man. 2-1.
Here's where you got to be very careful with a guy like Dozier. 2 ball, 1 strike count. And he'll be looking for something that he can drive out of the ballpark.
And he hit 28 home runs last year.
Wants to throw the slider.
Mauer leading. And he left it low. Now 3 balls, 1 strike.
Now you're really kind of in a jam. 3 balls and 1 strike. If you're a hitter, all you got to think about is fastball, and we'll see what Hembree does on the 3-1 count. Does he go to his breaking ball again, or does he go back to the fastball? He likes his slider.
Dozier's not a real big guy, 5'11", about 195, but he swings hard.
He's going to the fastball and supposed to be away.
And he missed with it, ball 4. So the Red Sox with back-to-back walks and put runs on at first and second for Sano, and time for the keep it moving moment brought to you by Old Dominion.
Let's take a look at the last 4 strikeouts for Rodriguez. A fastball right there by Mauer. Fastball on the outside part of the plate for a strikeout. The breaking ball, that slider down and in. And the slider down and in again to Grossman.
Old Dominion Household Services, self-moving services that deliver. 1-1 tie. But Sano will climb in. He's singled and he has struck out. Missed 27 games earlier this summer with a hamstring strain, and now Hembree wants Leon to come out and consult.
Now, there's a couple of things. First of all, how they want to attack Sano. And the other things, make sure they're on the same page with the sign sequence. That changes with a man at second base. You'll see multiple signs being thrown down.
Sano 238, 14 home runs. He homered in 4 straight games back in May. So he can unload.
Now, they talked about what they wanted to throw, and it was the slider. So that time they went out, decided on the breaking pitch, and didn't even put down a sign, did Sandy Leon. He'll put him down this time, though.
1-0. Mauer at second, Dozier at first. Minnesota with the go-ahead run in scoring position in the 6th. Hembree's 1-0 and fouled away. Went to the fastball, 94, and Sano got a piece.
You know, we talk about signs a lot, and when there's a man at second base, there's all kind of different ways on which pitch you will choose. You know, sometimes it's the second sign you give, sometimes the first sign after 2. You could do the scoreboard, how many outs there are. That'd be the number that you would take. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but your second baseman, shortstop have to be on the same page.
1-1. He would not chase, and it just misses.
And I've talked about this before. You know, stealing signs at second base is really an art for a base runner. And what they generally steal is not the sign itself, but the location of the pitch. And I'm not saying Mao is doing that now, but a lot of guys do it.
2-1. Drops in a strike. If he were taking the signs, if he were picking them up, what does he do to relay that location?
Well, there's a lot of different things you can do. You can take, if its pitch is going to be inside, you can take a step toward third base. If it's going to be away, you can take a step back towards second. You can look one way or the other. There's a lot of different things you can do.
First and second, one away.
A lot of looking going on there, but I don't think he's given location.
3-2. Been a wild inning for the Red Sox pitchers. Back-to-back walks and a full count on Sano.
You know, Mao is a guy you got to watch out for too, as far as stealing signs, because he was a catcher. He knows the gig back there.
The count full on Sano. A home run threat. He drives that one deep to left center field, heading to the wall. That crunches up against the green. Here comes Mauer in to score. Down to third is Dozier, and diving in with a double, a run-scoring double, Sano. He hit the daylights out of it. That'll make it 2-1 Minnesota.
And John Farrell quickly pops out of that dugout to go to Robbie Ross. So he'll be questioned why the quick hook for Rodriguez, and I think we both agree that at the time with Rodriguez in this heat getting up to around 90 pitches or more, and he didn't like the matchup with Dozier. He just didn't like that matchup.
Embry walked him, and Sano just ripped the double to make it 2-1. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Charged that run to Rodriguez, who was lifted after he walked Jomar, and that one fouled away by Kepler. Trouble here for Robbie Ross, not of his own making, but runners at second and third, a run in and one out.
And the Red Sox too, you know, only got 2 hits on the night, so they're playing the infield in with 2 men in scoring position and 1 out.
Kepler 1 for 2, a base hit and a strikeout. 2-1 the Twins have forged in front, and it's loop foul out of play by Kepler. Young hitter, but a Southern League MVP last year. He hit .322 with 9 home runs. He has 10 so far this season, including a big one against the Red Sox, a game winner back in June. 2 strikes on Kepler. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And Jackie Bradley could see the location where they wanted that pitch in center field. He was moving to his right on that pitch, trying to get himself in good position in case that ball was hitting his direction.
Dozier at third, Sano at second after ripping a double. If you're just joining us, Mookie Betts had to come out of the game a couple of innings ago because of a sore knee, a sore right knee, and Michael Martinez is now the right fielder, has been for a couple of innings. The 2-2 coming. Waved at and missed. He got him. Made a big pitch to strike him out, and they're 2 away.
Yeah, really big pitch there by Robbie Ross. He goes to the slider to pick up the strikeout. That's the advantage of getting ahead of a hitter. Then you can get him to chase something that may not be in the strike zone. That ball looked to be a little bit low, but chased by Kepler.
Sends up Escobar. Eduardo Escobar is 0 for 2. He's hit one on the ground and one in the air.
It's interesting here where you had Bogaerts go in and Hanley actually calling a meeting. They got a left-hander on deck, and Cedeno.
But first it'll be Escobar hitting 263 home runs. Escobar, a switch hitter to bat righty. Infield back to normal depth, and he'll take low ball 1.
Trying to get him to chase a bad pitch that time. That was down and out of the strike zone. First base open, lefty on deck.
We showed you the numbers there for Escobar. It's a good spot for him with 2 out, runners in scoring position, hitting over 400. Batting .409 with 9 RBIs. So Ross trying to get out of this. 2 walks and a double. None of those coming from him have put Minnesota in the lead. Rodriguez charged with 2 runs, and he's going to need some help to avoid a loss here tonight. Embry had a tough go of it as he walked a man and then got crunched for that double off the wall by Sano, who is some kind of strong. Here's the 2-0. That picks up the corner.
Staying with the breaking ball and a fastball count that time to get a strike. 2 balls, no strike, no fastball. Goes to the breaking ball inside corner.
Red Sox have due up Brock Holt, Michael Martinez, and Dustin Pedroia in the bottom of the 6th inning. Here's the 2-1. Popped him up toward right. Martinez, a long run along the line, and he makes the play. Fine running catch with some jets there at the end. And that retires the side, but Minnesota does jump in front 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Proud to give back to the communities in which they live and work. Thousands of kids have had a chance to catch a free game thanks to Dunkin' Donuts. Tonight we welcome the YMCA of Greater Beverly to Fenway. Dunkin' Donuts committed to the community. 2-1. Minnesota has the lead now for the first time. As we're in the last half of the 6th inning, Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien, Garen Austin, and Brock Holt 0 for 1. And this right-hander has been very good tonight. He has retired 14 straight Red Sox.
They've done a very good job mixing up his pitches and staying on the corners.
2-0. A strike. He was sitting for a long time. We'll see if it affects Gibson. Here's his pitching line, brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. Here comes pitch number 70. 3-1.
Now Holt can sit on the fastball. 3 balls and 1 strike.
5 home runs for Brock. That's a career high. And Gibson's 3-1. And he walks him. So the Red Sox have the leadoff man on in the 6th inning, representing the tying run. And the first walk issued by Gibson.
This will be interesting now to see what they do with Martinez. Do they bunt him with a man at first base and try to get him in a scoring position? And here's a guy that doesn't play very much. Now the Red Sox don't sacrifice much at all. Sano is in tight at third base just in case.
Martinez, as he just showed you with that outstanding running catch to end the inning, can really fly. And that throw over to first base designed to see if the batter would tip off his intent, and he did not. Did not indicate bunt. Brock with 3 stolen bases in 3 tries.
We mentioned earlier in the game, you can run on Gibson.
Centennial to catcher. Runner not going. He is bunting, and he flashes that one foul.
That effort there looked like he was bunting for a base hit. It's not one of those where he did square around. Signs put on by Butterfield with the count, no balls and 1 strike. You see, it was really almost looked like he was bunting to third base for a base hit there instead of sacrificing.
Red Sox got Martinez on the 8th of July from Cleveland. Runner goes, swinging a chopper up the middle, a dive and a play, got the out there, throw off balance. How about that effort? But safe at first base. Out at second base is Brock Holt, but Dozier with a spectacular effort and did get 1 out and nearly a double play.
Oh, that's a great play by Dozier, and they're looking to challenge this maybe at first base. What a terrific play by Dozier. The Red Sox had Holt off at first base, and they have the shortstop going, and Dozier goes over to get the ball, tags the bag, and then the throw to first base.
Kind of popped up the throw. Right now, Molitor has not indicated if he means to challenge, and he still wants some more time. They do get 1 out of it.
Well, Dozier had all kind of things to throw around, didn't he? I mean, he dives for the bag. He has to throw away from Holt.
Yeah, had to pop up the throw. Now they want him to make a decision. The umpires are coming over to talk with Paul Molitor, the Hall of Famer. And will he make up his mind if he's going to challenge here?
I think they're going to challenge the play at second base. I think that's what he wants to challenge.
You think they're talking about interference here?
Quite possibly that there was no slide by Holt going in a second, which caused Dozier to have to throw above or around him. Let's take another look. I think this is what they're challenging. I mean, was it base runner interference?
But he has a right to that bag.
Well, but once you are out, you have to get away from the man trying to make a throw.
Yeah.
You know, and that's hard to do when you're in a position where Holt is right there. So I can understand the challenge. I'm not sure it's going to fly.
So they are challenging the play. It looked to me like Brock Holt made every effort to get out of the way.
Yeah, the problem is he went to the side of where the throw was. And that's, I think, the reason that Molitor is challenging it now. I don't think this is going to take real long. We'll see. But once you are out, you can't impede a throw. You know, you're automatic. You got to get out of the way.
You know, the other thing could be this play at first base. That could be what they're challenging.
Well,
they could be looking at both of them.
Yeah, it could be. It seemed like he pointed towards second base. So, you know, it's one of the two. Could be a double play. But that they might have been looking at both things, and that's why it took Molitor so long to make the decision.
You know what we're being told now, Jerry? They are checking to see if it's a violation of the slide rule.
Yeah.
That's what they want to look at here. We've talked about that throughout the early part of the season.
And they're going to call him out at second and safe at first.
So Martinez safe at first.
And Molitor doesn't like it.
So no violation of the slide rule. No interference. And just to review that slide rule on potential double plays, under the rules announced in the preseason, a runner has to make a bona fide slide, as defined as making contact with the ground ahead of the base, being in position to reach the base with a hand or a foot and to remain on it, and sliding within reach of the base without changing his path to initiate contact with the fielder.
You know what changes that the situation right there, I believe, is the fact that it was a hit and run play. And in a hit and run play, the runner at times doesn't know where the ball is. I know it was in front of Holt. Now let's take a look at Brock Holt as he heads towards second base. He's looking back at contact. Now he sees Dozier. Now he tries to get out of the way. But, you know, he thought that ball might be going up the middle. Remember, Dozier had to just about dive for that ball and then get back to the bag, so he thought it was going to go up the middle.
I think they got the call right. There's no violation. As that one's down low on Pedroia, who has struck out and flied out. But back to the point about Dozier, that's a spectacular play.
Yeah, that's a great play. And to be able to get the ball off the first base was remarkable.
And it was a bang-bang play at first. Martinez safe. 1 out, 2-1 Minnesota in the 6th inning. Pedroia coming off a 5-hit night last night. We'll see if Martinez thinks about running here. On deck, Xander Bogaerts.
I would if I was Martinez. I'd give it a try. Red Sox only got 2 hits in the game. Try to shake it up a little bit.
Gibson walked the leadoff man after a pretty long sit. See if he's getting rusty. Here comes his 75th pitch. Now throw over first.
That's why you got to get a lot of throws to first base, because as I mentioned, it's 7 for 8 trying to steal against Gibson this season.
One out and the 1-0. Runner holding and a strike. Gibson is, like so many major league players, a veteran of the Cape Cod League. He was drafted out of high school by the Phillies in Indiana, but instead he went on to college at the University of Missouri, and in 2007 he pitched for Falmouth on the Cape, and he had a 1.17 ERA. So he opened some eyes. And now Pedroia will step out.
I think if you're looking to steal, you're looking for an off-speed pitch to go on. Shook off 2 sides and finally agreed on one.
1-1 runner holding, and it's knocked foul down the right field line, out of play. 2-1 Minnesota in the 6th. No rain here tonight. We had our doubts. We're hoping we are clear of it. Still thunderstorms potentially in the forecast, but not a drop of rain here on Yawkey Way. Baltimore leading Cleveland 5-1. They're in the 5th inning. Red Sox down a run in the 6th.
It's like a throw to first base here. No.
And down low, stopped by Centeno.
I saw the flick of the finger by the catcher, and usually that means a throw to first base, but in this case it was an inside fastball.
Michael Martinez, Red Sox base runner at first. He's in right field now, having to come on for Mookie Betts, who has a sore right knee. Mookie did homer in this game, though. again right away in the first inning for the second straight night. Here's the 2-2 to be thrown over to first base first.
Yeah, that was a different sign that time. He put down 4 fingers and then a 1, and the 4 fingers means to throw to first base. Curveball, changeup, slider, fastball in. They want the fastball inside.
Gibson's 2-2. Ground ball to shortstop. Friendly bounce. Escobar to Dozier. 1 on the first. Double play. Dustin Pedroia doubled up, and Gibson gets out of the inning despite the leadoff walk. 2-1 Minnesota. Here, don't overpay for your iced coffee. Get a large iced coffee at Cumberland Farms for only 99 cents every day, anytime. Ross delivers down low for a ball. This is a really promising sign. In between innings, the grounds crew came out and they covered the tarp with the LL Bean. So not expecting rain as that one's up the middle for a base hit by Centeno to begin the 7th. Byron Buxton will be next. It's time for a game break. It's brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Here's Adam Pellerin. Adam, thank you very much. Buxton gets in, a strikeout and a single for him tonight. Minnesota has out-hit Boston 8-2. Looking to bunt. He takes one outside instead.
Now, Red Sox expecting the bunt. They were in it close at first, in close at third, and Pedroia was in very close at second base, heading to first base.
Buxton, a guy who strikes out a lot, hitting just .202. Red Sox offense has really been silent this evening after a number of raucous nights here at Fenway. 17 hits last night. And back in safely, Centeno.
Once again, one of those throws to first base to see if that hitter was going to spin around and give away a bunt. He did not that time. I don't think Buxton would be a guy that you put the hit and run on with because he does swing and miss a lot. I'd be very surprised to see that.
Again, Shaw creeping in at third, no bunt, and he rockets that one foul. That one's skipping into the crowd on a lot of pairs of hands.
1 ball, no strike. They take off the bunt sign. Let's see if they put it back on with the count 1-1.
Ross, the second Red Sox reliever after Heath Hembree, who scuffled tonight, does show bunt, pops it up, and Ross will make the play. And back to first base is Centeno. So Buxton pops it up.
You know, pitchers are always thinking on that. Should I let that ball drop? If it drops, you got to get the out at second base. The problem is you wouldn't get Buxton at first. That's a terrible attempt right there at a sacrifice. You can see the barrel of the bat. When you look at the barrel of the bat on a sacrifice attempt, it's going to be above the baseball. That one, his bat dipped below the baseball. That's why he popped it up. And from Robbie Ross's point of view, he made the right call. Because if you drop it, you will get the out at second base, but they're not going to get Buxton, and Buxton's got more speed. So you don't want him on first.
Centeno had to race back to first base. Here's Nunez, who has been hitless in the series. He's 0 for 7. 0 for 3 tonight with a liner to right, a grounder to third, and a strikeout. 2-1 Minnesota. That's one of those little things that you kind of expected the Twins to do right for so long.
Yep.
And they're not doing them. At least not this year. Could be 2. Pedroia to Bogaerts 1, 2. 4-6-3. Ross gets out of the inning. Red Sox coming up, down a run. By Stanley.
Well, we tell you, baseball players are superstitious. Watch Bogaerts. Left tap on the bag. He'll go to his position, take his ground balls. When he gets the throw from Pedroia, turn toward center, give the leg kick, and throw to third base. He does it every single time he takes the field.
Stanley is the official tool of the Boston Red Sox. So Xander will lead things off here in the 7th. Going after the first pitch, a high twisting fly to center, but no carry on that. Buxton with the grab for the out. 1 pitch, 1 gone. Xander 1 for 3. David Ortiz will step in next. So far 0 for 2. Shop at Jordan's Furniture now. Get a discount equal to twice the state sales tax on everything in the store. Visit Jordans.com for details. David facing his old ball club in the Minnesota Twins after driving in 4 runs last night. He's hitless tonight, but he's always hit them well. .330 lifetime against Minnesota. Finally, some bullpen activity for Minnesota. Taylor Rogers going, and it just activated Junichi Tazawa throwing in the Sox pen. Line shot into center field. Buxton will make that catch. 2 up and 2 down in the 7th.
That ball hit very hard by Ortiz, sinking line drive, but Buxton right there to make the play. A very quick 2 outs in this inning.
Red Sox have 2 hits, and both of them came in the first inning. Gibson has not been touched since then. A leadoff home run by Mookie Betts, who had to step out of the game with a sore knee, and a base hit on the infield by Bogaerts. Both of those in the first inning. Inside the first 3 batters to face Gibson, and Sox have not done anything with him since. Hanley Ramirez will try and change that script, and he takes ball 1. Hanley's lined to right and grounded to third.
You know, we talk about players being superstitious. You come to the ballpark and watch them. Just pick out a guy, and they'll do about the same thing every time they go to on-deck circle. A lot of guys do the same thing going to their position. We just saw Bogaerts doing it on our split screen. Very superstitious of baseball players.
The 1-0. You had to have a couple.
Yeah, I had to tag second base every time I went to my position. I had to do it. It didn't matter the first base. I didn't bother with that one. But when I got to second, I had to tag that, then go back to take my ground balls.
It's in there. It's in there forever.
Yeah, and you just do it. You don't even think about it.
1-1 on Hanley. Of course, he's had a 3 home run game on his homestand. Tried to hold up on a pitch in the dirt, and he did. He did not swing. 2-1.
You have any superstitions broadcasting?
Yeah, I like to have a lemonade around the 4th inning.
I noticed that.
With ice. A lot of ice. Got to have a lot of ice. And I sip that very slowly and never finish it.
Is that for your throat or?
Nah, I like lemonade.
Just like lemonade.
I really like lemonade. Lemon's good for the throat, though. Supposed to be, anyway. 2 balls, 1 strike on Hanley. Bradley would hit next. And a 2-1 pitch from Kyle Gibson. And he flicks that one foul. He's up to 85 pitches. He's only walked 1 man in the game, and that was last inning, Brock Holt.
Now the center fielder shading to more toward right field. As you can see, Buxton just moved over there with 2 strikes. A lot of times with 2 strikes, Hanley likes to go to the opposite field. He may be thinking home run now, though.
Well, the outfield playing deep, and he gets a time.
Yeah, he's got a big gap between left and center field right now. They're pinching him in the infield at third and short.
Hanley hitting .347 over his last 20 games. Here's the 2-2. Got a change up there, and he fouled it away.
And one of the reasons you see Sano, the third baseman, very close to the third base line. They don't want that double down the line. They want to put Ramirez in scoring position with the 1-run lead here late in the ball game. That's why he's tight right there at that third base line. So they pinch. They bring over the shortstop a little bit.
Gibson's gotten the Red Sox in order 4 times tonight. And make it 5. He's pinned that one on the outside corner. 92 with a fastball. And the Red Sox go in order. Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Sullivan Tire and Complete Auto Service. Citizens Bank. Visit citizensbank.com. And by Plainridge Park Casino, the official sponsor of winning. Red Sox are down 2-1 as we go to the 8th inning. They've been out hit 8-2. And don't miss W.B. Mason Extra Innings Live right after the game. Adam Pellerin and Steve Lyons will break down tonight's game. You'll hear from Eduardo Rodriguez and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but W.B. Mason. So John Farrell will turn to Junichi Tazawa, just activated tonight from the 15-day disabled list, but on the DL with a right shoulder impingement, retroactive to the 4th of July. So Taz back in the fold. He's third on the staff in relief appearances with 35, behind Koji and behind Matt Barnes.
Through a simulated game just a couple of days ago, and they let him rest for a few days and activate him for this one tonight.
So he's had a long rest. He has not appeared in a game since July 3rd. First man who will test him is Robbie Grossman, who is 1 for 3 with a single. Then it's Mauer and Dozier here in the 8th. And the Red Sox beginning to run out of chances here against Kyle Gibson, who's been a big surprise tonight, and the Twins. Flying to the right, Martinez on his horse and dives ahead. Did he hang on? He rolled over. Still looking, and he's out. First base umpire Fagan took a long look down that line to make sure that he had control, and he did.
Yeah, that was tough to see for us because he turned his back on it, so I couldn't see if the ball had come out or not. Very good jump on this by Martinez in right field. Then he comes in. Now the question is, did he hold on to the baseball? I'm not sure. Oh no, wow. If it did, it was pinned against his chest and then back into his glove.
I was watching Fagan, the first base umpire. He looked like he was a man walking home, looking in the pet store window. He's going to pick out a puppy for his little daughter. He kept looking and looking and looking. Finally said yes.
Yeah, well, you couldn't see because his back obviously was to the first base umpire. So when he rolled around, you couldn't really see what was happening with that baseball.
Yeah.
And for a while, I thought it dropped, but it looked like maybe he held it against his chest and then finally into the glove. Let's look again. Right here, it starts to come out, but does it hit the grass? We can't tell.
Looked like he had the baseball tucked up against his chin. Mauer here, he has walked and struck out 2 times, 0 for 2. But a tremendous defensive play by Martinez. He's made a couple since he came in the game for Mookie Betts.
No, I give him A+ for effort on that, but I can't say that he caught it.
The 6 positions he's played, spent the least time in right field. 2-1 Minnesota in the 8th. Mauer batting a disappointing .263. And he'll take a fast one up high.
Tazawa's fastball that time 94 miles an hour. You mentioned all the rest that he's had.
Dozier on deck. He's homered tonight. And the 1-2 from the right-hander. And a routine ground ball to Dustin Pedroia down on the knee. 2 down. NESN once again looking for the best backyard ballpark in New England. If you think your backyard is in a league of its own, upload a short video and send it to NESN.com/ballparks. Jerry and I will team up to pick a winner, and if you win, we'll host a private party for your family and friends in your backyard. This contest presented in part by Lighthouse Construction.
I got an idea. Build a house on Yorkie Way and have this as your backyard ballpark. You'll win.
You got a couple of bucks to throw around?
Yeah.
Dozier now, he's homered and singled and taken ball 4, so the Red Sox have not retired him. 2-1 Minnesota 8th inning. The Red Sox have coming up now the bottom of the 8th inning Bradley, Shaw, and Leon. And a 1-strike pitch to the home run threat. That missed, according to home plate umpire Sanu, who's had a good night back there. Not many beefs. Sano next. He has 2 hits tonight. Junichi Tazawa with a 1-1. And a ground ball toward the hole that's going to get through for a base hit. So the Red Sox still haven't gotten Dozier. His 3rd hit, along with the walk.
Yeah, I know that Sano's a power hitter, but Dozier also has the ability to steal a base. That's a curveball that time that's topped between that hole between short and 3rd base. Now Dozier is perfect on the season, 7 for 7 in stolen base attempts, but he's got big time power behind him.
That would be Sano, 14 home runs. His double in the 6th inning was very impressive. That put a dent in the monster out there in left center field. He really crushed it. And he'll take a ball. Started him out with that curve. Sano just a .241 hitter, but 14 homers.
Remember early in the game they ran with Dozier at the plate. I was a little surprised, so I won't be surprised if Dozier does run.
Holding at the moment into the dirt and blocked by Sandy Leon, and Sano went running out in front of the plate. Would have been very interesting if the runner had been going. It was Grossman who was caught stealing in the 1st inning, thrown out by Leon on a play that was not close. But Dozier runs better. Minnesota ahead 2-1, so a tense one here in the 8th inning. A very different feel than the last couple of nights at Fenway. Certainly much different than last night. 2-0, runner holding and fouled away. Tommy Lane loosens in the pen.
I think if Dozier's going to go, he'll probably go on this 2-1 count.
Twins have had a lot more base runners than the Sox have tonight, with 9 hits to Boston's 2. Red Sox have not had a hit since the 1st inning. 2-1, runner stays put, and a line shot base hit in center field. Dozier rounds and now heads on back as the throw is cut by Bogaerts. So he goes into second, stops there. Back-to-back 2-out hits now for Minnesota.
And Bradley not wasting any time out there, not giving me a chance to go 1st and 3rd. Line shot right back up the middle. That's the 2nd time in a row that he's hit the ball very hard. See Dozier round second base to watch Bradley come up throwing. He thinks he might be going.
Well, now Kepler about to step in. Lane still loosening in the bullpen. And Tazawa will be left on to face Kepler, who has gone 1 for 3 with a base hit.
This may be a sign right here to be given in case there's a double steal, which I doubt there will be, where Sandy Leon is going to throw the ball, whether it be 3rd base or 2nd base. That's a sign to the middle infielders, to all the infielders, to let them know what they're going to do.
Well, John Farrell will stick with the right-hander Tazawa here with 2 down. And a breaking ball is outside. Could be that Lane is not ready. Kepler, a left-hand hitter. Two to 1 lead here for Minnesota. Dozier at second and Sano at first. And a 1-0. That one disappeared. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now, that's one of the reasons that, you know, they have the confidence with Tazawa against left-handers because of this pitch, the split-fingered fastball.
Left-handers just 8 for 53 against Tazawa, as Abad is up in their bullpen.
Yeah, a lot of that is because of that split-fingered fastball.
The 1-1. He watched that all the way back into the mid. 2 balls, 1 strike. It's Escobar on deck. Tazawa slowing down the tempo here with a couple of base runners, back-to-back singles with 2 down. It's a huge run out there at second base for Minnesota. In Dozier. 2-1 rocketed foul. He was on that pitch.
I'm not crazy about the breaking ball in that situation to Kepler. Now with the count 2-2, let's see if he goes back to the splitter. There's the breaking ball. It stays inside, and it was so far inside, really, that's all Kepler could do was pull it foul.
Kepler has struck out his last 2 times up. Tazawa trying to make it 3 in a row. 2 on, 2 out, the 2-2. And he missed.
It goes with the fastball at 95.
So it's a full count. That means the base runners will get a head start with 2 away.
You'll see the runner at second base, Dozier, when he takes his lead, he'll take it behind the bag. And then, of course, as soon as the pitch is made, they take off. That reason they take it behind the bag so he can make a better cut around third base on like a ground ball, say, to left field.
Dozier leading his second, Sano at first. They'll be off to the races now. Here's the 3-2 on the way to Kepler. Blind into center field, but playable. There's Jackie Bradley to put it away. 2 runners stranded. Red Sox coming up in the bottom of the 8th, down a run. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. It's a great look inside our truck.
That's the video room. They're in charge of the colors of the cameras and stuff like that.
Jackie Bradley will take a strike underway here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 2-1 Minnesota with 10 hits to the Red Sox 2 against Kyle Gibson, who right now is still under 90 pitches. He's been that effective in a lot of this, getting in front 0-1, 0-2. Eddie Rosario is their new left fielder, taking over for Grossman. He has an excellent throwing arm out there. The 0-2 pitch. Waved down and missed, struck him out. Centennial collects it and throws him out. Jackie Bradley 0 for 3. Red Sox don't have a hit since the first inning. So tonight it feels like with all the offense we've been watching, someone's just turned off the faucet.
Yeah, and it's almost you have the feeling like they're going to bust out here at any second. You've been feeling that way since back in the third inning, but it hasn't happened.
I mean, next to 0 scoring opportunities. And yet the ball game began with a bash, a home run by Mookie Betts as the leadoff man for the second straight night. Here's Travis Shaw. Ground ball to the second baseman. And Dozier there to throw him out. 2 fast outs in the 8th. Well, Gibson's making it look real easy tonight.
Now, he's been around the strike zone. He's throwing strikes. You're seeing a lot of Red Sox hitters swing early.
Sandy Leon about to climb in. Well, Gibson has retired the Red Sox in order in the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 7th. That's 5 times, and he's on the verge of doing it for a 6th time here in the 8th inning. Boston with just 2 hits. Look at the Red Sox bullpen. Lane and Ziegler. Getting late. The 1-0. Popped him up. Third baseman Sano. Once, oh, it's dropped. Sano off the glove. And Leon has to get back to first base. He mishandles it.
Wow.
Got very casual there.
Boy, all the Red Sox are looking for is a break, and you talk about getting a break. One hand, boo boo. I mean, no excuse for that.
Will it open a door?
Sandy Leon, really no excuse for that either. You got to be running a little bit harder and maybe get in a scoring position in that situation.
Yeah, only as far as first base.
Never anticipate an out.
We'll see what it means. Brock Holt to get in. He has struck out and taken ball 4. Red Sox have had 4 base runners the entire night. Strike 1. Brock took a walk in the 5th inning, but nothing came of that. As the Red Sox hit into a double play, they've been doubled up twice. 2 out here. Tied him up 0-2.
Good slider that time by Gibson. Once ahead, again, quickly ahead of a Red Sox hitter. That's the blind spot for a left-handed hitter. That slider that's inside and off the plate and down. You lose it.
Leon at first. 2 out. Here's the 0-2 to Brock. Ground ball toward the shortstop. Picked up by Escobar the throw, and he'll get him at first base to retire the side. So Gibson does a good job pitching around the drop by his third baseman. We go to the 9th, 2-1 Minnesota. Has just been spectacular tonight, and that's unexpected because they had an ERA over 5, 8 innings, 2 hits, only 1 walk, 6 Ks. Erod went 5 1/3, pitched all right, 2 earned runs. Right now he'd take the loss. Mookie Betts did hit a home run. On to the 9th inning. Mookie had to leave the ball game because of a sore knee. Tommy Lane on now for his 31st appearance. Escobar, the leadoff man in the 9th, and cracks a foul. Then it's Centeno and Buxton, bottom third of their order. Brandon Kintzler, the right-hander, begins to loosen in their bullpen. And a 1-1 from Lane. Hard ground ball, but a friendly bounce for Shaw. He sets him down. This Twins-Red Sox series is brought to you by Santander Bank. We take a look at tomorrow's pitching matchup. Nolasco against Price. Price going in 9-7. So it'll be Centennial to batter 1 for 3 with a single. Minnesota with a 2-1 lead. The Red Sox mustering only a couple of hits tonight, only a handful of base runners, but have due up in the bottom of the 9th inning, the top of the order. He chops at the bunt. Lane with a chance, fires and gets him. 2 down. We mentioned Mookie Betts had to leave because of the sore knee, so Michael Martinez will be the leadoff man in the bottom of the 9th. Then Pedroia and Bogarts, and anybody reaches, David Ortiz. CVS Health is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer. We invite you to share your hashtag reasons to stand up by posting a photo or video of why you stand up to cancer and tag at CBS in Action. Buxton in this one with a strikeout, a single. He's also popped up a bunt to the pitcher. And a 1-0. Another play for Shaw on a high bounce and gets him. They go 1-2-3. So the Red Sox will try and tie or win this thing in the bottom of the 9th inning. It is 2-1 Minnesota. McDonald's, I'm loving it. It is Brandon Kintzler. He is their closer. He only has 6 saves. That's the kind of season it has been for the Minnesota Twins here in third week of July, but a 2.20 ERA in 29 appearances. 2-1 lead for Minnesota here in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Martinez will lead things off. And then Pedroia and Bogaerts as the Red Sox try and add to that slim hit total of 2, both of them in the first inning.
First thing I would do if I was Martinez in this situation, if I was up, I'd look at Dozier at second base. If he's playing deep, I'd try to drag bunt to second. And he is playing deep. So is Mauer.
Martinez, a .274 hitter, does have 1 home run. And the first pitch is in there at 91 miles an hour for strike 1.
See Mauer close to the line at first base, trying to take away that double down the right field line.
Liner, but foul into the crowd down that left field corner. Looks like the Red Sox are going to have to win to stay in first place because Baltimore has a 5-1 lead in the 9th inning over Cleveland. We're in the bottom of the 9th here at Fenway. Chopper up the middle. Dozier bobbles it. Should be a base hit. Martinez is aboard to start the inning.
Yeah, that's got to be a base hit because no way Dozier's going to throw him out at first base with his speed and hitting from the left side of the plate. Just to get to this ball is pretty good as it heads up the middle, and even if he comes clean, you can see right there, no way he gets Martinez at first base.
It'll send up Dustin Pedroia. 5 hits last night, 0 for 3 tonight. He was doubled up in the 6th inning. The double play's been a bit of a problem for Petey, 17 of them. Trying to stay out of that right here. Bounding ball, but foul off third base. So strike 1 on Dustin, who's hitting .301. Checking to see if he's cracked his bat. Xander Bogaerts on deck. Red Sox trying to rally, and David Ortiz waiting in the wings. The leadoff man is on, and he can run. Fly ball down the line, slicing past the pesky pole and out of play. I thought for a split second it might hug that line, but it sliced.
Very quickly it went into a slice. It had the distance, but not the direction.
Pedroia with 9 home runs on the year. Nobody out. 2-1 Minnesota. And Kintzler with the 0-2. Base hit right field. Charging in Kepler. Martinez will put on the brakes at second. Back-to-back singles in the 9th inning for the Red Sox.
Now Pedroia finds that hole between first and second, and because it was a good charge by Kepler in the outfield, looks like a cut fastball on time. There's no way that Martinez could get to third. Now there's no way, in my opinion, you bunt here with Bogaerts. You let him swing the bat because if he's successful with a bunt, they're going to walk David Ortiz and load the bases. So swing away, Xander.
Now he's 1 for 3 with a base hit. The Red Sox, first 2 batters in the 9th inning, have equaled their entire hit output in the game until this night.
And you got 3 chances to end this ball game with Bogaerts, Ortiz, and Ramirez, all who can go deep.
And listen to this crowd coming to life on this Friday night. Xander takes inside for ball 1. 94-mile-an-hour Swifty. Single, a strikeout, and a fly to center. 1 for 3. Checking here with Brian Butterfield, who's flashing the signs at Martinez, who leads at second, representing the tying run. Pedroia at first.
There's a big hole between shortstop and third base. Closed up a little bit now.
the 1-0. He takes a strike. Ortiz waiting his turn. Kinsler does not get many chances to close games. Here's the 1-1. Inside to make it 2 balls 1 strike. Back to the fastball.
And not too many chances in an atmosphere like this.
Twins 2, Red Sox 1. Martinez at second. Pedroia leads at first. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Fouled away. Just got a piece of it.
Well, that was a good pitch for Bogaerts right there, too. He just pulled off a little bit too soon. Watch the front shoulder leave a little bit early right there, and that's why he tops it.
Yeah, that was a pitch to drive. 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Caught a lot of the plate. See what he gets here on 2-2. The tying and winning runs are on with nobody out. Fouled back. Had a good rip on that fastball.
Somehow I feel this game is going to end on a home run.
Red Sox have 2 walk-off wins so far this season. David Ortiz responsible for one of those. Kinsler with a 2-2 to Bogaerts. Check swing. It's highly appeal and no swing, says Clint Fagan.
Good job checking his swing right there and run the count to 3-2.
That was on a changeup. Got to believe he's seeing a fastball here.
3-2, I would imagine. Got to be looking for it anyway.
And time was asked for and granted by Asanya. Just as Kinsler had started his windup.
Yeah, Kinsler was not looking at him, so I had no idea that time was called.
Tying run at second in the speedy Martinez. Here's the 3-2. Got jammed and he fouled it off himself. And Xander quickly taking his seat. John Farrell wants to see if he's all right. He's up.
Right on top of the inside fastball that time for Bogaerts, and it looked like right off the inside of the knee.
Minnesota leading 2-1. It's been that way since the 6th inning. Red Sox with their first threat to score since the first.
It's almost like Bogaerts is freezing the pitcher like they do in basketball for a free throw shooter, right?
Yeah, this has been a long at bat.
Or a kicker in football.
Kinsler ready. The 3-2. Line shot foul. He hit that one wickedly. Yet another fastball. And this battle continues between Kinsler and Xander Bogaerts. Nobody out. The 3-2 again. Fouled off again. This next pitch will be the 10th pitch of this at bat.
We have not seen a pitch with a wrinkle on it yet, have we? Everything's been straight.
The only non-fastball he has thrown is the changeup. Martinez at second, Pedroia at first. Here comes. Fouled away. That's the first one.
Yeah, little wrinkle that time. A slider on the 3-2 count. And Bogaerts, tough at bat, able to foul it off. It was a hanging slider, but not one you've seen before.
So here comes the 11th pitch of the at-bat. Kinsler with a 3-2. Down low, he checked his swing. They're appealing. Ball 4 and no swing. And finally they do get a sign from Fagan. It is ball 4 and the bases are loaded with nobody out. And Ortiz coming up.
No swing, not even close to a swing that time. The reason they couldn't get the first base umpire to make a call, the home plate umpire was asking for baseballs and not asking for a sign from the first base umpire.
Yeah, they were not in sync. Neil Allen, the pitching coach, out for a mound visit. It's gone single, ball 4. And David Ortiz about to step in with the bases loaded and nobody out. And the Red Sox down 2-1. You said something about a home run a couple of minutes ago.
I don't know. I just had that feeling. We'll see. Infield pulled in. They have to come in. Trying to cut the tying run down at the plate.
Ortiz with 20 career regular season walk-off hits. He's 0 for 3 tonight. He takes ball 1. The 1-0 to Big Papi. To the right side. Dozier coming home, gets the out there, back to first, close, and got him, double play. So 2 down, second and third, but 2 away as Ortiz hits into a twin killing.
Oh, what a huge play there for the Minnesota Twins. Obviously, they pull the infield in to try to protect the 2-1 lead, and Dozier gets the ground ball. They don't have to rush because Ortiz is going down the line now. He's running as hard as he possibly can, but very upset of leaving those men out on the bases.
And very unlike him. So second and third, 2 away, and now it's up to Hanley Ramirez, who has gone 0 for 3. He's lined to right, grounded to third, and struck out. And with 54 runs batted in. And it's been a quiet evening for him so far. Pedroia at third, Bogaerts at second. 0-1. The Red Sox had the bases loaded and nobody out, and Ortiz at the plate. It's exactly how you draw that up. Now it falls to Hanley Ramirez. 2-1 Minnesota. And it's inside, boxed around by Centeno, but no advance by the runners.
Yeah, fortunately for the Twins, that ball rolling up the third base side. Once again, that fastball inside, and it goes in the direction of Pedroia, so there's nothing he can do. That's 2 sinking fastballs inside to Hanley Ramirez. See if he looks in that area.
Kinsler takes a side ready, and now the 1-1 to Hanley. chopped in a foul to make it 1-2.
Did it again, and I think Hanley was looking middle in. Here's the pitch again. The catcher sets up inside. They want it in. It stays out over the plate a little bit, but Ramirez was definitely looking to pull. Now with 2 strikes, it may be a different approach by Hanley. Let's see if they stay inside on him.
Two men in scoring position. Pedroia 90 feet away from tying it. Bogaerts at second. Minnesota leading 2-1, 9th inning. But 2 down for the Red Sox. And the 1-2 pitch. And he spoiled that one, ricocheting off the catcher. That one bit Centeno.
You know, that's a good pitch right there, because with 2 strikes, Hanley all of a sudden changes the swing, right? He wants to go to the opposite field, but they keep that ball inside. And you can see by that swing that Ramirez, it's almost impossible to push that ball to the opposite field. Very defensive swing there on a pitch that we kind of expected him to throw again.
Centeno taking that one off that right shoulder. He got drilled. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on. And Kinsler with a 1-2 pitch. Here it comes. Line into right field, coming on Kepler. He'll make the catch, and that's the ball game. Boy, a frustrating defeat for the Red Sox. They had the bases loaded, nobody out, down a run in the ninth. They wind up losing it 2-1. Very tough way to lose, especially with David Ortiz in the box in that situation. Final score tonight, Minnesota 2 and the Red Sox 1. Adam?